Hey, Beyond Conference. Hope you guys are having fun today and learning a lot about your Amazon business, your Amazon brand, or everything about e-commerce. My name is Ben Stein from Payoneer, and excited to be able to talk to you with these other three great panelists today about optimization for your Amazon business, optimization for your brand, or all things e-commerce. Joined today by Patrick, Leslie, and Yoni, all three great leaders of their companies, and excited to learn from them. So Patrick, you want to kick us off and tell us who you are and about your solution that helps optimize brands on Amazon?
Sure. So, yeah, as Ben said, my name is Patrick. I'm a customer success manager at Inform.co. For those that don't know what Inform.co is, it's basically it's an automatic repricer. We reprice on Amazon, but we also do Walmart and eBay as well. We're also a performance analytics platform, so we're able to show you, analytics behind not only your marketplaces but your items as well. And yeah, basically, we'll help to optimize your price mainly, but also help you to understand your business and how your items are performing as well.
Awesome. Excited to learn some more about repricing and the solutions you guys help for Amazon sellers. Leslie, would you like to go next?
Sure thing. I'm Leslie Hensel, and I am a partner at Riverbend Consulting. We help third-party sellers with all of those pesky seller performance issues that come up in their accounts. So account suspensions, ASIN suspensions, all of the things that no one ever wants to happen to them. And then also when they have random problems that come up that sellers try to work through seller support and get things done, ultimately sometimes you need an executive escalation or some other kind of help. So we assist with those issues as well.
Oh, awesome. Well, excited to hear some more about that. And then Yoni, would you like to round us out?
Sure, yeah. So the name of the company is GETIDA. Some say GETIDA. It's just an acronym. It stands for Get IDA, or Get Intelligent Data Analytics. Essentially, we're a technology company, data company. We have a bunch of popular services, but I guess our claim to fame is the ability to help Amazon sellers audit their account for FBA discrepancies. And once we find them and identify them, we actually open cases on their behalf and help them maximize any available opportunity as it pertains to discrepancies.
Well, thank you for the introduction, Yoni. I'm really excited to talk to all three of you about what it really sounds like is advocating for the customer and helping them grow their businesses and grow their brands. So to kick it off, I'd love to talk about Q4. We're in Q4 right now. It's just started a few weeks ago, and sales are going to ramp up. Brands are hopefully going to make a lot of money, and sellers are going to see a lot of success, especially given the boom we've had in e-commerce recently. So Leslie, I'd love to hear some of your thoughts about real-time optimizations that can impact Amazon brands.
Absolutely. So we all know that a lot of new folks are jumping into e-commerce and getting on the Amazon platform who haven't before. Lots of brick and mortar companies all of a sudden have Amazon accounts. So what does that mean to you? It means that seller performance is really on super high alert. Now, they always care about your performance as a seller, but especially during fourth quarter. And now they've got all these new players that they're worried about. So what we're already seeing with our clients is that there's a lot of ASIN level enforcement, and the clients that are not addressing the ASIN level enforcement are then getting their accounts shut down. And if there's any time you don't want that to happen, it's in fourth quarter. So optimization for us is a little different. It's playing defense, right? So if you've got those ASIN suspensions, voice of the customer, don't ignore the voice of the customer warnings. You can go in and reinstate those offers yourself, but you've got to show them you're paying attention. Don't let things sit there as a flag on the account. Even if they're just asking for invoices, send those in. Find something and send it in. Don't give Amazon any excuse to take you down right now. And also an important thing to know and remember that's really kind of frightening is that before fourth quarter, Amazon hires thousands of new people for account health, seller support, and seller performance. These are new people doing their best to do their job. They don't always do it right. So you've got to be buttoned up, have the information available, have the invoices available, and respond quickly so they have absolutely no excuse to cause you a problem with lower revenue.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting Q4. Yoni, do you want to tell us what your thoughts are about real-time optimizations and how I can make a difference today?
Yeah, I mean, I usually kind of remind myself this every fourth quarter, especially when today it's a bit less. It's more about my background. I just full disclosure, I used to sell on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And my department, we used to do over 20 million a year, but as a group, we did over 100 million. And every fourth quarter, it was like it's like NBA playoffs or the Super Bowl. You know, everything becomes super high alert. You know, this is prime time money. You can't have anything of fall through the cracks. As Leslie mentioned, you have to be super preemptive about having your account just clean mint. Anything that strikes in, you strike it out right away. Any ball that comes in, you knock it out of the park. So any complaint, any blemish, you take care of it. It does remind me of a horror story that we had a few years ago. This was actually September-ish, as far as I remember. So all of a sudden, the account got suspended out of nowhere, and there was no notification, nothing. The account was mint because we were very adamant about having a clean account. So we didn't realize what's going on, but we're very privileged back in the day to have like an Amazon representative. I think they call it an account rep. So we reached out, blah, blah, blah. He said, oh, it seems to be like a new team. Like she mentioned, there was a new hire, new team was hired. We kind of saw the account. They didn't understand, what's going on. They're kind of new. Boom, they shut down the account. And we realized they were based out of China, this new teammate. So I guess within 24 hours, I believe, we were able to, clarify to them that nothing's really wrong. And they're like, oops, we're sorry. And they reinstated it. Unusual case, but the horror stories are there. So hopefully this new hirees, this season, this Q4 season for Amazon will go smoothly and sellers will not get affected. But if it does happen, it won't be the first time. But react fast. If you're innocent, prove that you're innocent and make sure you have all the documents to prove that you're innocent. But it goes back to the high alert, high focus. This is your time to shine and win. You waited all year for this, so better be prepared.
It sounds like, really, as Leslie said, it is really playing defense and making sure that you're prepared. If any issues come up, that you are ready to reinstate your account or solve any issues as they happen. Yeah,
if you just woke up, you got a complaint, you woke up like an invoice, where, what, you're ready, it's a bad start. Or proof of delivery or authorization from a brand, whatever they ask you from and it's new to you, that's already an issue. So if you have no idea what we're talking about, go to Facebook groups and start asking, what does that mean? Ask who got punched here. Look for survivors. Whatever it is, do your due diligence because the more, power, the knowledge is power. So the more you're going to know about it in advance, hopefully you have the ability and power to strike it out and clarify yourself as soon as it strikes you. Because a lot of the innocent get nailed, unfortunately, in primetime season.
I can only imagine. And Patrick, can you speak to us a little bit about some of the SKU level or ASIN level issues and what actions we can take?
Yeah. So I mean, pricing errors are going to happen. It's hard to stop them from happening, but not only do you want to reactivate those items obviously right away, but using a repricer is a great way to prevent them from happening, right? At Informed will help to keep your items at a competitive price, but we can also help you set a min and max that, to prevent you from pricing too low or too high. And usually those are the issues that we see from our side of why Amazon will deactivate an item. The item may go too low or too high, so setting min and max prices is a great way to combat that. And Inform makes it easy to set min and max prices for your items. You'll just have to put in your cost price and we're able to calculate them for you. So if you don't have a tool that can do that, I think it's definitely important to get one and that way you can make sure that, like Leslie and Yanni said, you're staying on the defense.
Patrick, small question with your tool. Can sellers put their cost of goods and see their margins?
Yep. Yeah. So they'll be able to put their cost of goods. And basically how it works is, say you want to make 10% profit margin, you'll put that in. We'll bring in the Amazon fees, right? They send us or we get the Amazon fees. And then we calculate in that 10% profit margin for you. So it's really easy to set your min and max prices. and that'll help prevent those pricing errors that we're talking about.
Yeah, that's critical. You have to know your margins. In Q4, actually, any time of the year, if you don't know your margins or how much you're making, and you're an Amazon revenue millionaire but you're losing money, it's time for you to know. You know, it's so knowing your numbers and running a P&L or profit and loss balance or adjustment or checkup has to be done. I would recommend sellers to do it now before they hit already November, December, so they know if they're profitable or not. And if they find that they're not profitable, hopefully you may be informed that when they actually put their cost of goods in, they say, oh, actually I'm selling it for $50, but after all the fees, I'm actually losing money. It's time to raise your prices, for example. So visibility is critical, and it's better to discover that now before you really hit November, December, especially that 30-day run between Black Friday all the way into Christmas, a few days before Christmas. That's really the massive wave. Know your numbers, know how much your margins are. If you have a margin issue, raise your prices, and don't worry. There's going to be so many eyeballs and so much demand. It's time for you, I guess, to make that earnings back if you lost your money. But if you're already making good money, why not make some more money? Just know your numbers. It's very, very important for Q4 or any time of the year, but Q4 even more. Sorry.
No,
I was just going to say, I'm sorry, Patrick.
No,
but
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I really get the feeling that this year, of all years, people who lowball early are going to regret it more than ever before, because of all the problems getting enough inventory into the warehouse, and the cutoff dates are going to be earlier than usual. And even if you send by the cutoff date, stuff may not be received on time. Let's face it, there's some logistics nightmares. If you mark your stuff down and you're the first to sell out this year, instead of like using a repricer strategy that's based on your margin so you don't just kill yourself. Oh man, in the years past, I get it, right? Because there's all these low ballers and people who come in on hot toys or whatever. This year, I think the people who hold out are really going to make some primo dough in December.
Yeah, so as far as I understand from what you're saying, Leslie, is we're going to be stuck, not we, but the whole marketplace will be stuck in a scenario where there's probably going to be over demand from supply. Something that happened to toilet papers and the paper towels. It became like diamonds. You can sell a paper towel roll for, instead of, I don't know, 50 cents for $50, and those critical moments. So if that's the case, yeah, definitely make sure to price yourself correctly.
Yeah, that is why I think it's really important to have a min price set at, say at the beginning of Q4, and basically just to set that price to say, I'm not going to price below this for now. Maybe if you get to November and December and those items still aren't selling, then yeah, you can automatically lower it. But it's good to have a min price to go into Q4 with, to know that that's your goal, that you want to try to get those sales at, and let everyone else sell out, and you'll get all the profit margin you want come end of Q4.
And speaking of how this Q4, and Yoni, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's just going to be so different than Q4s of years past, that, certain goods, and Leslie, you're mentioning this, right? About, you price too low, maybe you're going to run out of inventory, or you price too high and maybe you won't win the buy box. Maybe, because of constraints around global supply chains, inventory is tough to come by. And I think it really, frankly, opens up a lot more of the buy box for everyone else. But what are some tips that you think sellers can do as we, rapidly are approaching the holiday season, and then maybe even anticipate these sales to continue through January and February? What are some tips that you think sellers can take away to make sure that they are profitable and that they continue to sell as much as they can?
Who wants to take this one?
Okay, I'll jump in.
I
got something. So it is not too late. It is never too late to have a merchant fulfilled strategy in place. And I know that is the least fun, least sexy thing that anyone is going to tell you in this hour, because no one wants to do it. It is hard work. There's a lot of oversight. At this point in time, you're not going to find someone to do it for you, most likely. So it's going to have to be in-house. If you're a small to mid-sized seller, you do not need that many people on your team to make this happen. And so here's my super crazy idea that we actually got clients to do over spring break and after. So like my college kids coming home at Thanksgiving. They're all coming home at Thanksgiving. My little kid, he's in school right now. They're ending at Thanksgiving, like everything's online. you've got team members who are going to have availability after Thanksgiving. It's time to do merchant fulfilled, y'all, because everyone's going to run out of stuff. I'm telling you, Amazon is going to be, the well is going to be dry. The presents are going to be gone. The stuff that people want to buy that they wait till the last minute, there's not going to be anything there. And so if you can provide, if you can set aside a couple pallets of stuff that you are going to send away to the FBA, keep it, because you're going to be able to sell it. You're going to ship it in December, early December. It's going to get there on time, and Amazon isn't going to have as much stock available in-house. The availability is going to get you that buy box, and you're going to make more money.
Yeah, let me slide into that. So I guess because Q4 is highly important, but if you stock out, I guess two main things you're losing. Obviously, the opportunity to sell more during the hot season, but also your rank. You're going to start losing rank, and that's going to affect you for Q1, Q2, and maybe forever, right? So you always have to have the ability to try to gauge and calculate what will be the best scenario of sales, and have enough inventory for that, and also enough inventory for Q1. So try to pretty much, if financially it's possible for you to have enough inventory for Q4 with your wildest dreams, and enough for Q1. It's a financial challenge probably for quite a few sellers, but FBM, fulfilled by merchant, is a great way or tactic to have some reserve, maybe 5%, 10%, up to 20% of your inventory, either an FBM or even an FBA. There's another trick you can do. Basically, you create 2 SKUs on the same ASIN. One of them you sell to the price that you're okay with it, and then the other one you price it higher, 10% of your stock or 20%. So it's a different price point already. So once you stock out of your 80 or 90%, it goes into your secondary stock, and it doesn't even have to be active on the marketplace. It could be inactive. So once you see you stock it out, you just activate the other SKU on contingency. So at least you did that cut, that split, the differentiation. So if you can really gauge velocity and kind of see where 10% or 10% can be left on reserve, either FBM or FBA, there's 2 techniques that you should probably do. In worst case scenario, it did not get sold. At least you have it so you can carry on for Q1 and not lose your rank.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what Leslie and Yanni said, an important thing to have when you're doing this strategy is, not to harp on it again, but is a repricer. We have different strategies for FBA and FBM sellers. We also have a lot of customers that do have both SKUs on a listing. So, when one drops off, it's important to have the other start repricing again. And we'll automatically exclude your other offer from competing against one another. So, it's definitely important to have that extra inventory that isn't in Amazon warehouses. And that's a great point.
Yeah,
it sounds
because
like really.
That fear.
Go ahead.
Because of that fear of stocking out, reserve. Try to play the reserve game, because we're in unusual circumstances, getting goods logistically, and this year, it's proving to be a nightmare. So probably be wise to have that element.
I had inbound inventory in May that was just received this, when was it? Mid-September.
Wow,
so, that was during a tough time at the warehouse, but it wasn't peak. So I just, frankly, at this point, I have some pallets I just received because my supplier things are slow. I'm not sending them in because I don't trust they're going to be received. I'm just going to hang tight to that. And if I sell through what's in the warehouse, I've got stuff on hand. I can merchant fulfill. And you know what? If I don't run through those, that's fine. I'll get them into the warehouse for Q1 and it's all good. But I just think we all need to think a little bit differently now because the logistics are so much tighter at Amazon itself.
Global logistics and Amazon logistics is the 2 bottlenecks.
Yeah,
it sounds like really having a great contingency plan. If something is to go wrong, if inventory can't be accepted, if things aren't being processed, if you can't get inventory in plan, and really diversifying your business, making sure that, I think the strategy, Patrick, that you were saying is, and Yoni alluded to as well, kind of, 2 different pricing, making sure that you understand your sales velocity, that you understand truly your profitability, but know that, if you're going to sell X amount of products at a certain price and you really think they're going to run out, to have that reserve supply to make sure that, as Leslie said, you can maybe tap into your employees' kids or your other employees' friends and get the gang together to sell some goods.
Yeah, think of it like war. You don't want to have a situation where you don't have any bullets to fight the battle, because you'll get shot at, and you're not gonna stay in the game probably. So
Yeah, here,
And
you need
warfare helps.
you get some boxes, some bubble wrap. A label printer. It really isn't that. I think people think it's going to cost them a lot to set it up. It really doesn't. And you can use your current warehouse. You can use a garage. You spend a few $100 and you're ready to go. It is pretty cheap to merchant fulfill on Amazon.
In a lot of cases,
Great.
it's going to cost you more not to do those things, right?
Right, and especially if you're stuck with inventory at the end, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The fidget spinner of a few years ago. Imagine being stuck with a garage full of those.
No.
That's nothing. Amazon had back in the day tens of millions, of hundreds of millions of units of the Amazon Fire Phone. They couldn't even use it as toilet paper. They had to really write off the whole project. That was one of Jeff Bezos' biggest failures, is that Fire Phone. I don't know if you remember that phone, like 3-4 years ago. They invested billions and billions in developing it. They tried to sell it for 200, 400, whatever, and then they're offering it for 99 cents. You buy anything on Amazon at 99 cents, like a McDonald's ice cream, you get this Fire Phone. Nobody was buying it. They couldn't do anything with it. That's one of their biggest failures. But Jeff Bezos always says, cost of failure is just another hurdle until the next success.
Yeah, I think that's a great quote, and it's I think very appropriate here too. Is Q4 is going to have a lot of question marks, and we just don't really know what to expect. But talking a lot about Q4, and then we're going to be into 2021, which sounds crazy to actually say out loud and hear out loud, as it's been a long 2020, I'm sure, for everyone here. I'd love to hear what you think 2021 is going to look like, and what merchants can really do to set themselves up for success. So Patrick, you want to start with that one?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I think, and I think Yanni's going to touch on this a little more later, but e-commerce is just, it's booming, right? And more sellers and more competitors are coming into not only Amazon but every marketplace, right? We've seen a little growth in Walmart as well. And so with so many different competitors and different companies to compete against, it's pricing competitiveness is one of the most important things, right? It's hard to do manually. You're probably not going to be able to do it manually with hundreds of SKUs. And as we touched on before, making sure that your business is profitable it's so important. A lot of customers come to us and they think they're selling for a profit, and then we do a calculation for them, and it turns out they've been losing money this whole time. So in 2021 I see competitiveness just continuing to grow, and you better make sure that your pricing is staying competitive as well.
But let me ask you this, Patrick. You're a pricer. If I'm a private label seller, how can I reprice against my competitors? You guys help with that?
Yeah, thank you. So you can't compete against another ASIN. If you're, obviously other ASINs it'll be a similar item, maybe the exact same item if you're private label. So what we do is we have what's called our sales velocity algorithm. And so basically what that does is it reprices, it's basically on demand, right? So you'll set a target velocity that you want to sell at in 30 days. And we compare what you're actually selling to that target velocity. And then we'll reprice you based on how you're doing and achieving that velocity. If you're a little ahead, we're gonna raise your price, right? And try to maximize profit margin. If you're a little behind, we might lower your price to try to reach that sales goal. So it's not just for items that you have multiple sellers on an ASIN. It's for private label items as well, staying competitive amongst the market and seeing what the demand is, and we'll help you reprice to meet that demand.
I think that's crucial because, tunnel vision to the future. Private label sellers, are the nicer word to say is brand owners. They're probably just going to grow and grow in their position in the market, and reselling is even if it stays the same, because of the growth of the brands, it's very important that they know that there's a tool like that. I was not aware, so I appreciate the awareness.
Yeah. Great question, though. Thank you.
And Patrick, I loved what you just said there. And you know, Yoni, you hinted at it too, right? It's the word goal, and I think that that is one part that I forgot to add in here is goals too for 2021. I think as a merchant, as a brand owner, as a seller, you can't compete unless you have a goal. You know, you can't just, and I'm not stealing anyone's thunder, but you know, you can't get on there and just say, all right, I'm going to sell and throw some products up and see what happens. So you know, with that, Yoni, I'd love to hear some of your thoughts about what you think for 2021 and really what merchants and brand owners can do to be successful.
Yeah, there's so many things that I have running through my mind with scenarios, but I guess I'll try to pick the ones that I think most relevant, or I guess the most influential. It's gonna be a more of a professional game, meaning if you're doing this as a side hustle, as a side gig, as a hobby, it's just gonna get more and more intense and more tough. And at some point, you're gonna have to make that switch, that mental switch, where you realize this is not for amateurs. You know, this is a pros game. The bar is going to keep on being raised and raised and raised by Amazon and your competitors. So if you're doing great now, you're on top of the world, you're making net profit, 50,000, 100,000, 300,000, you know, you feel like great, but it's not static. I mean, it's a hyper dynamic environment, and it's just going to get more and more intense, more and more crowded. So you're going to have to stay on your top game, your top alert, pay attention to the trends that change and adapt. Try to be a few steps ahead of anybody else. Always kind of think internally, what would my customers, my end users would appreciate me doing? If it's in terms of pricing, can you maybe cut your own costs or produce more? So because you're buying bigger, you can reduce your costs and then maybe give them a better price and keep the same margins. Or even after doing all that, you can even have better margins. Let's say you usually sell it for $30 your product. We're able to cut your costs with your manufacturer, so you can sell for 25 and make even more profit, right? Try to think in those elements. Don't think, oh, I'm doing great now, it's just gonna stay. So going into the future, you know, I've been into the e-commerce space for the past decade now. You know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, almost anything you threw online just sold like a cupcake. Today, it's just not as simple as it used to be anymore. It's just much more complicated. Advertising, kit bundling, branding, enhanced brand content, keywords. It's just a whole world of myriad. So like I mentioned, it's not almost no room for amateurs anymore. So the amateurs that are kind of winning with this, you know, hopefully this is a wake-up call on time, and look into the future, you take it more seriously and try to use these events like Beyond and any kind of seller conferences, events where you just absorb all these nuggets, change your mindset, adapt and evolve, and hopefully prepare yourself for a prosperous future as opposed to a trend and I'm out.
Yeah, and Moshe, you know, we'd love to hear some of your thoughts as well on you know, 2021, and I think you know, Yoni put it perfectly that there's no room for amateurs here.
I agree, and I love small sellers, so that's really painful for me to agree with. Because small sellers, man, they hustle and they work so hard. But I think what we're seeing is a real maturing of the marketplace. So just as we've seen this incredible dynamic change in e-commerce and this massive growth in Amazon and other platforms over this year, we've seen an acceleration of interest by governmental agencies, and there's litigation and all of these outside pressures that come to bear on Amazon. So there's, you know, when we saw all of the repricing problems throughout all the COVID drama, you know, why did that happen? Well, there's governmental pressure on Amazon, so Amazon gets aggressive with sellers, and for a good reason. And if you're a big seller and you're very diversified and you lost some of your listings because of that, you're going to survive. But if you're a little guy who just like somehow got some masks in there, it's going to kill you. You're not going to survive.
You mean the price gouging? The price gouging?
Well, yeah. The price gouging, suspensions, and then there was a second wave where it was all pricing errors instead of price gouging. And even with the pricing errors, some of those listings could not be reinstated. They didn't ever come back up. And then what did they do? They gated masks completely. First the N95, then they did it on keywords. You know, it was this whole tumbling of things that happen, this series of events. So if you're a big seller, what do? Well, the big sellers, they've got other places to sell. They have other marketplaces. They've got other strategies, someone they can wholesale their stuff off to. You're a little guy, oh my goodness, you're in really big trouble. And so there's a lot of regulatory pressure to bear. I've seen sellers in recent weeks who are being asked for documents about toys, safety documents about toys. So if you are going out and hustling and you're buying retail arbitrage, you're not going to have any of that. It's stuff you have to get direct from the manufacturer, or your distributor can get it from the manufacturer. This is another way that the little guys are getting pushed out of the market. So I think there's a lot of decision making here for people who are smaller, that are they going to go big or go home? And again, I really don't like saying that, because a lot of the little guys, they're my friends, right? These are my buddies, and they work so hard. But as there is more regulatory pressure, more lawsuits, the product liability issues, all of this stuff, Amazon is requiring a higher and higher level of professionalism and the ability to have great invoices from proven distributors, from proven wholesalers. And then one other thing is that Amazon is getting so much better at fraud detection, so much better. And they've been good at it for a while, picking out the invoices that people have altered, like when they alter invoices to try and get ungated in categories without spending any money, all of these things. With every day that passes, Amazon is getting better at finding that stuff. So the bad actors are going to find themselves getting pushed out more and more. I'm interested to see how they re-enter, because they always find a way. But the little guys, I think are going to be more and more challenged. You're going to have to come up with the capital to do the minimum purchase from the bigger distributor. You're going to have to prove to them that you're a real business and not just working out of your basement.
What about the module, Amazon Seller Central module? Is there any hints there of what's going to happen, what's going on? What's the mindset for Amazon?
Right, so everyone's noticed that Seller Central looks nothing like it did a year ago, and some of us, it makes us very sad, because if you sold on Amazon a long time, it's like taking something away from you, and it's so much harder to find certain things.
It's like that good old Buick car that you always loved, spacious Buick back in the old days or something.
Exactly, the car that you could drive practically with your eyes closed because you'd driven it for 10 years, right? Same thing. But yeah, you'll notice, for example, Amazon is pushing you to reprice or to restock, and a lot of it is about lowering your prices. They're pushing things down. They have directions they want to see things go. And so if you want to know what Amazon wants from you, look at what they've put on that homepage of Seller Central. It's all about pushing down the prices, expanding selection, going into new ASINs that they know are probably going to sell based on data similar to the family of what you already sell. But yeah, if you want to know Amazon's wishes and their heart's desire, just see what they keep putting up there on Seller Central.
Yep.
To that point, one of the predictions that I have of the reading and the research that I've done is the future globalization of the economy. I think that the infrastructure is there for complete e-commerce globalization, and COVID has expedited this, really given us a kickstart. I really think that we are going to be able to order products all around the world, that sellers can be able to expand and frankly take advantage a lot of those marketplaces that have the white space, that aren't as saturated, that are still, for less mature sellers are still available and still accessible. So, Yoni, I saw you smiling there. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something that we kind of realized, because I agree with you totally, because I'll give you an example of what we saw. We see that sometimes on Amazon Seller Central US, some sellers are getting orders that come in and the buyer is Amazon. So look at it, what does that mean? So we did some investigation, and we found out that what Amazon does is phenomenal. What they do is, your products are available in the US and they're in the FBA center. But these items, what Amazon does with their own initiative, they list it on Amazon France, Amazon Germany, Amazon Italy, whatever it is. And they translate it, do the whole translation. And because they know it's in stock with an FBA, whatever, let's say in Kentucky, they're going to offer it out in that other marketplace. They're going to do all the monetary conversion, all the calculation with the customs. So the French consumer just buys it and boom, picks up from Kentucky and ships it into Amazon's fulfillment center in France or whatever you are. and you get it. So essentially Amazon, with their fulfillment centers and their ability to do cross-border logistics, they're going to become simply a global village. Anybody, almost anywhere in the world, just it taps into the greatest selection on earth, I think they call it.
It truly does solidify them as the everything store.
Yeah, on a global level this time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, Patrick, what are your thoughts on when it comes to pricing and the globalization of products? Because I'm sure certain commodities and certain pack sizes or quantities vary, and supply and demand is different in countries around the world.
Yeah, definitely. And there are first off, we can reprice your items in Europe and all the countries in Europe and United States, Canada, Mexico. But it what we do that makes it easy is we calculate. You can put your price in American dollars if you're selling your stuff. You're from America and that's the only exchange rate that and then you put your cost price in American dollars, and we'll calculate the min and max for you. But take in that exchange rate and calculate that into your min and max price in different countries.
But the exchange rate, it feeds daily, hourly, or who sets it?
Yep. So it'll be daily. Exactly.
So you guys grab it from like the Forex exchanges?
Yeah, I forget the exact exchange that it comes from, but we grab it and then we calculate your min.
Like a global peg that for the global exchange for those currencies.
Yeah, exactly. So
pretty cool.
I mean, you don't need to know the exchange rate at all. All you need to know is your cost price, and you put that into Informed, and we'll handle the rest for you.
Yeah, lock your margins. Yeah.
Exactly. It makes it. I mean, that's when it can get real dicey. Is setting your min and max prices or just your sale price in another country, especially if you're not a exchange rate expert, right? So we'll do that all for you and keep it up to date.
Also, the VAT is gonna take into effect the VAT also.
Yeah, VAT. You can set VAT on an account level, a marketplace level. So you can calculate that in and make sure because that is big, right? You need to be able to calculate the VAT in to make sure you're not selling for a loss, and that's a big fee that you got to pay. So yeah, we make that easy. You could set on the marketplace level, or if you have items with different VAT for whatever reason, you could set it on the SKU level as well.
I'm going to say this the New Jersey way. Perfect. It sounds perfect.
Too easy not to.
Yeah.
And Leslie,
Okay,
what are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is where I'm the voice of doom.
Oh, no.
That's part of my job since I talk to people about risk management. Unfortunately, sometimes I'm the voice of doom. Okay, so international marketplaces are so exciting and really attractive. I think a lot of Amazon veterans who got their start on the US marketplace are really used to almost like a set it and forget it attitude of their listings, and they have great vendors that they love and they put their stuff on Amazon and just let it go, and it almost becomes like passive income for some people, right? Well, that does not translate necessarily into international marketplaces. So you think, hey, I'm going to take all these great products and I'm going to sell them on the EU marketplace. I had a pet company who did exactly that. They put all of their same SKUs on the UK marketplace and then promptly got suspended because there were several really weird regulations about pet products that you cannot sell in England. And seriously, y'all, they are things that, like, when I heard them, I was like, what are you even talking about? Why can't you sell things that seem really harmless to us? And no, you could not do it over there. And it took weeks and weeks to get them reinstated because they had appealed several times and pretty much said, we don't know what happened. And Amazon doesn't like that. So we had to prove that they knew the rules, right? But that's an example where you think, how hard could it be to sell pet stuff? Now they are only selling hard goods. Nothing that could be interpreted as something that a pet would eat or ingest in any way, right? Well, that's just one tiny example. The EU is very complicated. It's extremely complicated. The UK might become a little less complicated now that they're away from the EU, but oh my goodness. And so every new marketplace you go into, there are a lot of regulations, and you've got to understand them, or you've got to at least understand what your risk level is. Because there's a lot of hard goods that you really aren't going to worry so much. I mean, a phone case is a phone case. You're probably okay. But if you look at the risk of anything that's a topical or an ingestible or a pet product or a baby product, think twice and then think a third time. And if you're a private label seller, make sure that you have someone who understands the regulations in those marketplaces, because if you ship all your stuff over there and they decide that you can't sell it, it's all over there. And that's a problem. And yeah, you could move it in the US marketplace, but you've got to have someone remove it there to your local address and reship over here. It's just, yeah. So it's
let me add into that. Let me add into that. So instead of, if you want to test the waters, especially for your types of items, FBM, do fulfilled by merchants. You'll ship it from the US, but at least, if you're going to get suspended for some reason, it's probably going to happen before you sell it, right? Because you have ingredients or whatever, topicals, not topical. So, a few weeks, a few months you go through, hopefully you get some orders. That's another kind of way to gauge the water, but definitely talk to a professional. I want to say something about Europe. They're so strict that even Amazon got suspended this year in France. They couldn't operate. They say, you're shutting down your warehouse. Whatever issue that they found, say you guys are out. You're suspended. You can't operate and open your fulfillment center. You're shut. So yeah, it's very, very true. And I remember a case of a client that we saw that they listed a product on Amazon. It had I think it was topicals, some ingredient that all of a sudden the government of France decided this ingredient you can't buy it over the counter. It's only subscription or something like that. Not subscription. What's the word I'm looking for? Prescription, right? Prescribed. So so they put it, and they never listed it. They never sold even one unit, but it got suspended. So they had to appeal it and say that they never sold it. And when they listed it a few years back, it was like old legacy. It was like 2-3 years ago. They said when they listed it, it was legal. Now it's not legal. Okay, so they deleted it. So you have to common sense stuff. You have to break down the common sense, and eventually they got over it. But the Amazon way, they just shoot you first, and then they ask all the questions. And during that time, they lose their sales and revenue, which is very painful.
Yeah, we don't even realize that we're kind of the Wild West here still in the United States with a lot of product-oriented laws and things. And it compared to Europe and some other jurisdictions, it is so much easier to be a seller here. And you just don't want to find out the hard and expensive way how true that is.
Yeah. This country is the biggest marketplace in the world for a reason.
I think to that point, there is a lot of opportunity domestically, internationally, in various marketplaces, and Amazon is truly growing. I believe they're at 17 marketplaces today, and not stopping until they open up many more. So
I think Turkey opened up or something. Turkey just opened up.
Yeah, they're slowly moving and conquering these bigger countries. And I know Prime is expanding within other countries too. I believe they're at 7 total countries with Prime right now. It's truly the Yoni, as you were just saying, right, the world's largest marketplace.
Well, and you know what's awesome is people who do it the right way and who get the capital. Oh man, they're killing it because you're the first mover, right? So if you get in there and you find out the rules and you do the things and you do it now, oh my goodness, imagine what you could establish if you can move right now into some of these new marketplaces that people don't even realize exist.
Tell me, Ben, if they operate in international marketplaces, let's say they're in the UK, Germany, you guys offer lending also for them as well, and these local currencies, or you guys only lend for US dollars?
Yeah, so speaking about Payoneer Capital Advance, there's actually a great session about that taking place today, where Payoneer's TJ Highland is going to dive into that and talk about countries that are eligible, where you're either registered or where you are. Marketplaces that you're selling on, and all the specifics there. So yeah, to answer that question, we are always opening up other countries and marketplaces that we will offer a capital advance to, and offer some working capital to, exactly to Leslie's point, help these sellers purchase the inventory, sign up with warehouses, new suppliers, new solutions, so they can move and expand into those warehouses.
Like we said, they got to play like pros.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. You can't go in with hardly any money. You're going to run out. You won't be able to restock. You've wasted all that time. getting your products ranked, all those good things. Yeah.
It's definitely getting more capital intensive, this market, this whole industry, definitely.
I couldn't agree more, and it's going to be fun to see the growth. So, with that, Yoni, Leslie, Patrick, I would love to thank you for joining me today to talk all things Amazon optimization, talking about Q4 and what we maybe are going to see, maybe not. I think it's a big question mark, what sellers can do and merchants as they look ahead into 2021 and some global expansion. So with that, I'd love to give each of you a final thought here and as we wrap up this session. So Patrick, if you'd like to kick us off.
Yeah, sure. First, thank you to everyone that's joining and watching virtually. I think, we touched on a lot of things today. I'm biased, but I think, one of the most important things you could have as an Amazon seller on a competitive marketplace will be a repricer. And so I encourage you to try us out. It's a free 14-day trial. And whether you're an FBA seller, FBM, if you're both, after the tips we gave you today, private label, we have strategies and our support managers can help you with any questions you have. So I wish everyone the best of luck in Q4 and hopefully look forward to working with a lot of you.
Great, thank you. And then Leslie, if you'd like to go next.
Okay, so if anyone has any scary issues in Q4, you can always reach out to Riverbend Consulting. The call is free, and we have human beings who answer the phone and talk to you about your problem. We're not just going to ask you for a credit card number before we even discuss it with you. We want to know if we can help you before we, talk about any kind of an engagement. I think that's super important, especially in Q4. Also, like we just talked about, y'all, first mover advantage for real. One thing that's great about Payoneer is that they do care about having, if I can plug you, care about having experts available that they can refer you to. And that is super important because they are the experts in helping you get into international markets and helping you get these funds and making sure you do things the right way. So if you can jump on first mover advantage in some of these marketplaces by using experts, by finding people who can say, yeah, you're safe with these products, or to help you figure out what margins work for you in other marketplaces, use the people on this call and on some other sessions and make the numbers work and then get some of that capital and go, because I think there's so much opportunity in other countries on top of the great things we have going on here in the States.
I couldn't agree more. And Yoni, you want to round us out?
Yeah, I'll try. Once again, I got so many things in my brain. I'm trying to pick the ones that I think will be a good flow. All right, so let's talk a little bit about a triangle. There's I guess a triangle if you want to get more funds for your business, right? Three good ways. One good way is obviously if you're selling your stuff and you're selling more and more, it's a great way, organic. Second thing, get funding. Payoneer is a great tool for that. If you're doing if you're doing rock and roll internationally, you're going to be able to get competitive currency exchanges and lending off of that. That's the second component. A third component that we at least can help GETIDA is whether you sell in the US or Canada or Mexico or UK, Japan, Australia, we can audit your account, and whatever money you're leaving behind in terms of FBA auditing, we'll recover for you. I like to call it, we're going to get you money from the dead. Okay, we don't charge any interest, nothing like that. It's money that pretty much belongs to you, so it's a good practice to have it in your pocket than anybody else's pocket. So once you get those funds back, hopefully you can lower your interest payments, all right, to Payoneer. So basically it becomes like a free loan, for example, right? Or you invest more into your next product line, in your branding, your advertising, whatever it is, to keep empowering you. So you march into the future like a shining knight on a white horse or black horse or whatever your favorite color is, and stay very, very successful, hopefully. So happy Q4, everybody. Really much luck.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yoni. And Patrick, Leslie, Yoni, I want to say again, thank you for joining us and imparting a lot of your wisdom. It's been really valuable for me to learn from you three as well, and I'm excited to see what's next. So for all of you tuning in, if you have any further questions or want to reach out to anyone here on the panel, all the information and the best way to reach them is going to be right below in the box. And happy fourth quarter. Thank you.
Happy fourth.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Ben.